Hey everyone, Jason here, architect working in Toronto, or architect on the move. This morning, it's been a busy day. This morning, oh, it's tight. It is tight. There we go. This morning I had a site visit for a project that it's come out of the ground. So it's this relatively large house, like 3,500 square feet or 3,500 square feet. In metric, that's about 350 meters squared above ground. Below ground is another kind of third of that. And it's seeing it on site. They're putting up brick. It's basically out of the it's a building. Very, very exciting seeing it in person. The windows are absolutely massive. These things are absolutely massive. It's something like, I want to say like 20 feet. It's 20 feet high, this kind of glass living room portion. It's incredible. And I'm really excited. So going through the project, going through all the little bits and bobs of details of how we're going to do this, these things that, as much as we design, as it gets into construction and things, it's like, we thought about this, but then now that it's built, kind of looks better like this kind of thing. Yeah, it's exciting. So that's moving along, and that was about an hour drive from Toronto north, maybe 45 minutes in that zone. So by the time I got back to the office, it was like 11, almost 12 noon. Had some lunch and then jumped right into followed with a ton of emails, and then followed into a meeting at 2 p.m. with a client that is based in Vancouver. It's a project here, but they live in Vancouver. And that one is a tricky one. It's a commercial project, and it's an existing empty space. It's an existing vanilla shell space, and in this vanilla shell, it's basically used as giant storage, but it has a mezzanine. Mezzanines are really weird things in the code. They're technically a second story, but building code wise, it's not considered a story because it overlooks the main floor. It's open air. From a syntax definition point of view, it's not a second story. It's a mezzanine. And there are things that, there are certain areas where they relax in the code. So if it's a mezzanine, you don't really need a second means of egress. You only need one stair basically up. If it's a mezzanine, it's open air. There's no fire separation, vertical fire separation. If it's a mezzanine, then from the calculations of area, it's not for the classification of the building, the overall building that has like 30 of these massive units, it's not a second story. It's a mezzanine. It's not counted as a story. The building code, the way life safety works with building codes is they have to classify what is a building, under 6 stories, under 10 stories, any size, any amount of stories. Those are like the high rises kind of thing. And then in each tier, there's either a relaxation of certain requirements, like you need it to be sprinklered, you don't, you need certain fire ratings, or you don't, whatever it is. It's based on size of building, and just in general, like that leads to kind of complexity or a simplified thing. A lot of houses don't have sprinklers for that reason, because it's a small-ish thing. The level of risk is really low. People in a house, it's their home, You should be kind of free to do whatever you want, in a way. But when it's a commercial space, that means there's the public involved, there's staff, there's all sorts of little things that is risk. It's just straight up risk. Where was I? So, the city saw it and they're like, you guys have this kind of kitchen on the main floor that has a ceiling. This mezzanine is no longer a mezzanine. We see this as a second story. With that kind of response from the city, we had this meeting together at 2 p.m. today, Zoom, as a discussion of, do we push back and try to make this more mezzanine-like take away the main floor ceiling, so you look down into the kitchen, or do we say, okay, if we're gonna make this second story, let's go the 9 yards, make this a second story, have a second means of egress, or whatever the things that you need to do to make it legal. And that's the decision. It's a problem solving with the clients. How do we figure this out? And largely that was great. It was a very productive meeting. I can't complain. Separately, last night we ran a 3D print of a little model of just the foundations of a new project, a project that is going to break ground pretty soon. The foundations, the clients had asked for just the foundations to get a sense of what this thing looks like, because the drawings, sometimes drawings are difficult to read, where you have footings, different heights of foundation walls, things like that. What's this guy doing here? Different heights of foundation walls, things like that. And so they just wanted to see physically, what does this thing look like? And a little 3D print does it. I mean, we used to make these things by hand, but nowadays it's relatively cheap and easy to just do a 3D print. So we printed that out, told the clients, we'll see if they pick it up or we drop it off, whatever it is. And then on another series of projects, we have these kind of multi-unit, we have these apartments that we work on as just like bread and butter permit drawings. Clients want to, the owner wants to upgrade the units, rent it out for more with a new tenant kind of thing. It's that kind of game. Yeah, so we have some problems because this is where I've learned that I need to be a harder line, like tougher skinned architect. In many cases, I'm like, okay, well, we'll make it work. We can figure it out, that kind of thing. I'm very soft on a lot of things. On this project, I let the clients go a little too far with their, oh, we want to do this, we want to do this. It's like, well, we could do that. It's going to be hard, but we could do that. I should have pushed back on a lot of stuff, and it became a real pain because now I have this problem on my hands where what was built is not what we had planned. So now it's doing as-built, scanning the space, make sure that's right, that this is all code compliant. And so that's dealing with the inspector on that, and everyone's just trying to do their jobs. It's just kind of a little bit of a living hell trying to get this right. So that's what's on the docket for me. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.